All right, so let's talk about Unreal Tools. Let's open that up. First thing you'll see is something called Apply. And what this is to zero out a transform. So let's say here I rotated this character. And you'll see that the values of the rotation are just kind of all over the place. Okay. Like, let's say I actually wanted this to be the 0 position. Currently, right now, I have it for rotation and scale. Let's also do scale as well. Let's change this up. So you see that scale is not 1, and rotation is not zeroed out either. So, like, if I go and reset this transform, it will bring it back to the way it was. But let's say I wanted it like this. I can hit apply. It applied the rotation, so now this is the 0, and if I do location, it will do that as well. So you see the pivot move to the center of the world. So now this object has a funky transform on itself. And yeah, that's it for that part. And then also you have something called center mesh. You see how the pivot is in the center of this ball? Let's say I wanted to put it on the floor, okay? And what I mean is like sitting on top of the positive space of Z. If I hit center mesh, you'll see the pivot now is at the very bottom of the mesh. And that's kind of helpful for some things that need to kind of like sit on the floor. So that's super cool. Then you also have item spacing. So what this means, like, let's say you have a bunch of objects, right? And you kind of want to space them out. You can do item spacing, and the value is a little too big. So we'll bring this down maybe to 1. And you can put everything in a row, everything that you've selected in a row. So that's super cool. And let's talk about round up to whole. So basically what this means is if you have objects with like a point value, like a decimal point, right? So you see here it's like its location is 200 or 2275.9. If I select all of them and I round up, everything gets put to a 1 meter. It's just kind of to help while you're working. It's not super important when you're doing like level design. Also, another thing, Blender really likes periods for whatever reason, and Unreal really doesn't like periods. So it's always kind of best to use underscores when you're separating like the numbers and whatnots, right? So you see here on this list, let's get a little closer. Oh, I can't zoom in on that. So you have to trust me. There's a bunch of point values. If I hit replace with period, all the periods get turned into underscores. This also works with materials. So if you have materials, it will go through and change them to underscores as well. Oh yeah. So another one is child to UCX. If you're unfamiliar with UCX is what would I call that? It's a collision mesh for Unreal. So let's say I am going to put a collision mesh around this character. Obviously, you should do a better job than just putting a box around a character. But this is just for the sake of the video. Alright. So now that I have it around it, what I'm going to do... So the character's name is Farah_Stan_ref. If I click on this, click on the collision, click on the object I want to make the collision for, I hit Control P. I will parent object without inverse. So now that collision mesh is now attached, but for this to work inside of Unreal, you need to have this specially named after the object with UCX prefix. So I made a button. If you click the button, it will turn the collision mesh into a wireframe, and it will actually name it UCX underscore, the name of the object. So now this will work correctly with Unreal Engine. And then over here, you have prefix, suffix, and then add static mesh prefix, a little, shortcuts for that. So you can add whatever you want. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then remove prefix and suffix. So you can say the number of characters that you want to remove, and then the number of the characters you want to remove for the suffix. So it's got a rename, or it's got an adder for prefix and suffix, and then a remover for prefix and suffix, and then apply and organize. This one's very special how this works. So you can select a bunch of objects, hit apply and organize, and it will put those objects inside of a group. So you'll have everything live inside of its own group, named after collection named after the object. And yeah, that's it for Unreal Tools. Enjoy.